Hey guys, it's Kat and I am back today with a little bit of a raspy voice. I've been sick, but I'm finally doing sort of my final check-in for my Project Apocalips. This is video number 15, so I've been doing this for a long time. This has been going for a year and a half. It is a series where I'm testing out pretty much my full lip collection, which is, I can confirm, over 500 lip products, and my goal is to try them all, decide which ones I want to keep, which ones I want to get rid of, and be quite ruthless and try to get rid of around half of my lip products. Now, this is going to be my final sort of check-in where I recap what I've been wearing over the past month or 6 weeks and telling you which ones I like, showing you photos, showing you how they wear, all that kind of stuff, and then deciding which ones I'm going to keep and which ones I'm going to get rid of. But I will be back with my swatch off. So I've been talking about this for a little while now, that once I do whittle down my collection after testing them all, I want to sort of swatch all very similar shades and similar sort of finishes and decide how many of each do I need to keep and if I can cull any more from that point on. Now, those videos will probably take a couple of weeks to film. I predict that swatching reds and lip stains and all that kind of stuff, I'm only going to be able to do a certain amount each day, and I can only really film once a week with my toddler. So it's going to take me a little while, and it's also going to take me a little while to organize those. So those will be coming. I'm predicting maybe it'll be like a 3-part video and it might go over 3 weeks. So it is coming, but I haven't started that process yet. So what I'm doing today is going through the last sort of category that I broke down. I will have all my videos in this series linked in the description box. So if you wanted to see what I thought of ColourPop products or MAC products or whatever it happens to be, I'll like list the category and the video next to it. This one is a bit of a miscellaneous. I would mainly call this online brands. There is an exception, which I'll talk about in a second, but these are all brands that in Australia anyway, you can't really get them in store. So I've got Nabla, I've got Lorac, I've got Ofra, I've got Inglot, and I've got Ciate. Now, Ciate is the one exception to that. You can buy Ciate in Mecca, and I did talk about other Ciate products in my Mecca video, but I bought these since doing that, so I thought I'd just throw these in this video. But besides that, every other brand in Australia isn't really stocked in store. Inglot used to have a lot of pro stores around, but they've since sort of closed those, and in my state anyway, I don't think there's any around. So yeah, these are sort of for Australian audiences anyway, sort of online brands. So as per usual, I'm going to start with the sort of products that I've got 1 or 2 of, and then sort of end on the brands that I've got quite a lot of products of. And the majority of this month is actually Nabla, and I have been sent these in PR. So that's why I've got so many of them. And yeah, I'll go through these at the end. I'm going to start with Inglot. I've got this product here that I've had for a long time. Whenever I wear it, like, I get so many people asking what it is because it's such a beautiful, vibrant, gorgeous, orangey red, almost like neon lip. This is the HD Lip Tint Matte in the shade 39. I love this, and I'm thinking back to every time I've used it. I think like once in a while it doesn't sit well or sort of wears off funny or feels a little bit dry, but generally this looks so good and wears so well. And it's one of those things that it gets buried in my stash of lip products and I forget about it until I pull it out and I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And that's the experience I had this month. I love this. It's beautiful. It looks gorgeous. I'll read my notes so I don't forget anything. So I said that this is an epic, bold, vibrant, almost neon red shade. It's not fully opaque, but it doesn't need to be because it's nice and even. And if it was opaque, it'd probably look a little bit too heavy on the lips. It's creamy and wet to apply, but it does start to set down within a couple of minutes of applying it. It can have a little bit of sort of hydration to it at the start, but if you press your lips together, it starts looking a lot more matte. It also has a little bit of a grip to it because there is moisture in this. So it's not a super, super dry, powdery matte. There is some moisturizing elements to it. Has a bit of a berry scent that reminds me of like a berry vitamin powder. So I don't know, it's just a interesting addition. It's like a, I don't know, powdered raspberry or something. It's not bad, but it's not nothing amazing, but this wears amazingly. It absolutely wears the house down. It tends to wear off in the outer corners of the lips throughout the day as you're drinking, eating, all that kind of stuff, but most liquid lipsticks on me do anyway. But at the end of the day, this still looks really good. And I even had some on at the very next day. Like, I tend to shower at night and my bathroom isn't super well lit, so I didn't even realize that when I woke up, I'm like, why do I have patches of red on my lips? And it's just because it was still on. So this wears well, looks gorgeous. Definitely one that, this is a good example of why I'm doing this project. Gems like this, which is, okay, it's not the best formula in the world. It could be a little bit more smooth throughout the day. It can look a little bit textured on the lips because it's a matte liquid lipstick, but overall it's a really, really great product. And I find that I tend to ignore it because it's buried under all my other lipsticks. So this whole project was designed to find the really good ones and wear those every day, because why have 500 lip products that you don't love when you can have sort of like 200 that you're obsessed with? So that was the whole point of this, and that's a great example of why I'm doing it. So I'm keeping this. I'm going to talk about what's on my lips because it is starting to change color as I'm literally talking. These are two products from Ciate. Now I bought these back in, I think, December. I was on a no buy, but I thought, look, I really want to try these because they're really interesting. I have to look down at the name because I don't actually have the name on them, but it is the Ciate London Color Flip Heat Transforming Lip Cream. So I've got the shade Drama Queen, which is a nude that changes to a nude, and I've got the shade Cash Fetish, which is the one I'm wearing today. It's a dark red that goes to a brighter red. So really interesting concept. I did a review on these. When it comes to the formulation of these, they're nothing to really write home about. They're sort of your traditional liquid lipsticks. They are quite matte. They can show a little bit of lip texture because they do dry down quite dry matte, I suppose. But the good thing is that they are thinner, so they aren't sort of puckering and really dry and sort of feel like you've got a thick layer in your lips. They are thin to apply, which is nice, but they are more of that drier feel. In terms of how these wear, I find that they sort of wear down a little bit unevenly. So you'll have the rim that's sort of like got the product on it, and then the inner part of the mouth tends to wear off, and then after you've eaten, it sort of like is almost completely gone. So it's not the most, like, the best wearing product. It's not the most comfortable product. I do prefer products that you can sort of move around a little bit. So maybe you know, if it's starting to look a little bit patchy, you can sort of press your lips together or move it around a little bit, but because these are quite setting products, you can't really do that. So the main draw card of these are the color changing element. So there's a cool color and a warm color, and I'll show it to you in a second on my lips with the one that's slowly getting warmer. Like, as I started this video, my lips were cool and now it's starting to get warmer. The nude one is pretty cool though, because the cool color is this sort of almost slightly greyish, berry toned nude, and then the warm color is like a peachy nude, like a peachy pink. So I think it's really fitting for, I like that sort of more greyish, mauvey tone when it is cold, and when it is warm, I like something that's more sort of peachy. So I feel like this is perfect for the temperatures that it sort of changes with. So I like the color choices of these, but also because they are both nudes, if it's sort of like in the transition period where you're got cold lips but you're drinking a hot drink, or vice versa, it doesn't look too jarring and too patchy. So I think this is a cool one. Again, not crazy about the formula. It's not my favorite, but I think the concept is really cool and I'm going to keep it for that. This red one though, so Cash Fetish, which is the one I'm wearing. I do have some drinks down here, so I'll show you. The warm color is this beautiful sort of traditional cool toned red. So it's, you know, not an orangey red, but it is sort of bright. I'll drink some tea. So that's the red there. Really, really pretty. And I've got my cold coffee from before. We'll see if this works. See the berry tone starting? And that's sort of the cool color, which is a really beautiful sort of dark berry red. Again, both these colors are really stunning when they're fully transformed. When they're halfway, like you've got the warm outer corners, or you've got a warm, like the bright red, and then you sip on a cold drink and you've got these like dark patches, especially if you leave like a drip on your lip and it leaves like just a patch of dark. It's not as flattering, I'm just gonna say. I think it's, again, a really cool concept. I think the cool color is perfect for cool weather. I can imagine myself going out and about. We're currently in winter, wearing a nice coat and having that, rocking that really beautiful berry shade. The tones of these are really, really nice. And then going inside, taking off your jacket and having this beautiful, vibrant, the warm color red. I think it's a cool concept, but I would not wear these if I was going out on a hot day and drinking a cold drink, because that transition looks absolutely stupid. And I have done it at a restaurant and it does not look good. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep this again for the cool factor of it, but deciding whether or not I'm going to wear it is going to depend on what I'm doing that day. Like, I think it's okay if you're out and about and you're having a warm drink and it's just got a little bit of warmth on the inner part of your lips. I think that's not too bad, but yeah, vibrant red with like dark berry splotches, not the nicest. But I am going to keep it because it's a cool concept, and these are only about 6 months old. So, and they were limited edition, and I don't have anything else like them. So even though it's not my everyday red, I think it's really cool. All right, the next two lip products are also liquid lipsticks, and these are both from Ofra. So they're long-lasting liquid lipsticks. I've got the shade Verona, which is this brownie nude, and I've got Atlantic City, which is pretty much the color I'm currently wearing. These are so typical nudes and reds that I've got in my collection time and time again. So much so that even though I liked these and they wore fairly well, I'm torn. The nude shade is really pretty. It's like a nice sort of brownie tone nude. It's the sort of nude that I like. It's a burnt orangey brown. It's a type of shade that I wear a lot. And the formula isn't bad. I have tried other shades that I've since decluttered that are a lot drier. Whereas these two in particular, I think I've always found that with liquid lipsticks, the nudes, like the not super, super light nudes, the sort of more mid-tone nudes, and the reds are always the best formulation. I don't think they need, I don't know, they're not as drying, I find. So these stood out as being just nice products. Again, are they unique? Absolutely not. Were they nice? Yes. They weren't too thick on the lips. They did set down. Look, I wouldn't recommend these for people with dry lips because you would not like them. But since I've got fairly normal lips, they worked well for me. But they didn't stand out as being the best of the best, but they definitely weren't something that I would instantly go, these are horrible, I'm going to declutter them. So yeah, I like them. I just feel like if they continued on to this sort of swatch off phase, I probably have so many shades like this. So I'm going to put these aside for now and make a decision at the end based on how many other things I get rid of. But these are definitely on the chopping block just because of the redundancy of them. All right, I've got two Lorac lipsticks here. These were from a holiday pack from a few years ago. And we had a Beauty News subscriber send them to us. So Lorac is almost impossible to get in Australia. They don't ship to Australia. In the past, you used to be able to get Pro palettes from Amazon, but I don't know if you still can. They're just a brand that never bothered to give a shit about Australia. So thanks, Lorac. That's nice of you. Anyway, these are two lipsticks from a set, and these are the highly pigmented, I can't even talk, my nose is blocked. Highly pigmented satin lipstick. This nude shade is Cat Lady, which is great. I'm a cat lady. Currently have a cat right behind me on the bed. And this is Prom Queen, which is a berry. Now these are getting old. If I had a sense of smell at the moment, I would be able to tell you that they're starting to turn a little bit, and they are getting a bit thicker and gluggier. This lipstick though is one of my favorite nudes, to the point that I actually don't have much left, and I'm probably going to pan this in the future. It is the most beautiful pinky mauve tone. You know me, I don't really love a pinky nude lip, but with a bit of a mauve tone, it works for me. It's really good for the cooler weather. It's just a stunning color. Very, very creamy, very shiny. I wouldn't call these satin. I'd call these quite a shiny formula, but they are very opaque as well. They definitely transfer because they stay really creamy and maneuverable, but they're not so high maintenance that you're worrying about it like smearing out of your lip line and whatnot. They're pretty easy to wear, especially the nude. And I find that because they are so pigmented, there is color left on your lips for quite some time, and they are so creamy that, again, if it's starting to wear off after food, it looks a little bit uneven, just press your lips together, redisperses it, off you go. So I'm definitely keeping Cat Lady because it is a color that I love. Like, hopefully the photos on the screen show you how pretty it is. It's a beautiful shade. I would buy it again if I had access to it. It's beautiful, but I'm probably going to keep that to pan that. In terms of the shade Prom Queen, look, I have not used this nearly as much because it is barely used. It's a very pretty color. It is this sort of like red burgundy berry shade. So instead of it being like a purpley berry, it's more of a red berry, which is really pretty. These have a vanilla smell, but this one smells like, again, it's sort of starting to go old. And to be fair, I don't wear a glossy red, like dark red, enough to keep an old lipstick that is virtually unused. So I'm going to get rid of this. It was nice, and there's nothing really wrong with it, except that it was feeling a little bit gluggy and starting to smell a bit funny, and it's just not something that I need. If I'm going to go for this color, I tend to go a matte formula. They just last a little bit longer and you don't need to babysit them as much, but that shade there, totally keeping. And it's going to survive any swatch off. I'm just going to tell you that as well, because I love that formula and that color combo. It's beautiful. All right, let's talk about Nabla. I'm going to start with the items that I only have one of each of, and then get on to the sort of bigger ranges. The first one, and I'm so torn on this one, guys. I'm so torn. This is the lipstick in Metropolitan. That's not the name of it. They never put the full name on the packaging. It's very annoying. This is the Glam Touch lipstick in Metropolitan. And this color is so my color. It's like a brownie tone nude, little bit of sort of rosy tone in there. So it's not super, super caramel colored, but it is beautiful. It's a nice sort of sheer, almost like a tint. So it's easy to throw on when you're just in the car and you want to throw something on. It's very, very hydrating. It doesn't last very long because it is so sheer and is so shiny, but it does give a really beautiful effect on the lips. I actually wore this a couple of times this month, simply because I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but also because it was really pretty and it worked really well with my coloring. It is like a nude that I'd go for often, and it would be in my handbag. My issue with this, and it's going to sound so trivial and crap, it has a really strong coconut scent, and I have this aversion to coconut. I find when I was a kid, I had this medication that was coconut flavored, and ever since being on that course of antibiotics, which was like 10 days of hell, I really hate the smell of coconut. Anything with a strong coconut smell, I don't like. So it starts turning my stomach a little bit, and I start going, ooh, that's gross. If it's got like coconut with vanilla and stuff like that, I can handle it, but pure coconut, which is what this is. I'm glad I've got a blocked nose because I get a little bit of it, but I'm like, it's not nice. And the scent does linger a little bit, not heaps and heaps and heaps, like I can get over it, but do I want to keep something that I don't enjoy applying? That's my big question. But I really love the look of this, and I feel like if I wanted to pan this, I could do it fairly quickly, because to use this and keep it on throughout the day, you might need to like reapply it a couple of times, like after a meal. But it's like such a beautiful shade. I'm going to put these with the Ofra lipsticks in the to be determined, because again, I'm looking at the photos, I'm like, it's beautiful. It's a really nice, easy, quick lipstick. But yeah, that scent, scent can sometimes get you. All right, now onto my only shade of Dreamy matte liquid lipstick. I think I had more of these, but I wasn't impressed with the formula. So I tried the one that I thought I'd like the most, and then I gave away to like family and friends some other shades that I had unopened. So this is a really popular formula. Whenever you hear people talk about Nabla liquid lipsticks, they talk about the Dreamy matte. I personally love the Dreamy creamy, which I'll get to in a second. But Zen is the one shade that I have. This is a very, again, sort of cooler toned nude. There's like mauvey tones in there. It's a nice winter shade. This sort of reminds me of the formula of the Ciate one, like the one what I'm wearing today. It's a traditional liquid lipstick. It does set down. It is a little bit drying, but it's not the worst that I've come across. It doesn't feel too heavy because it is quite thin on the lips, but it does give you a little bit of textured effect. It lasts okay, but after eating, it does look quite patchy. I'm going to sacrifice this because I haven't been decluttering enough in this video so far, and I know I've got similar colors in different formulas that I like better. I might even have a similar color in the Dreamy Creamy, which I like a lot more. I might do a quick little swatch comparison when I come around to those. So yeah, this is not bad, but nothing to write home about. And the color isn't unique enough for me to be like, I need to keep it just for the color. It is pretty, I did like it, but I think it's gotta go. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the Dreamy Creamies because these are, in my opinion, far superior to the Dreamy Mattes. And I think the shade that's probably most similar to the one I've got on my hand is either Eve or My Rules. I think My Rules is a bit darker, but still that sort of same sort of berry mauvey nude tone, but as you can see, darker. And then I've got the shade Eve, which I think is a bit lighter. Oh, it's a lot more sort of brown. Oh, it's more pink toned, but similar sort of concept. You can see that this formula anyway is very, very pigmented, very opaque, but very shiny. So the matte one is currently drying down matte. These stay very shiny and very creamy. They are a thicker formula, but they are, I love them. I think they're so good. The downside of them, in my opinion, is that they're quite thick on the lips, that it can look a little bit heavy. I will have a photo. I think I actually used my rules when I took this video. But I'll put a video or photos on the screen of me blotting it down and showing you how I think it actually looks a little bit better blotted down, because these can sit quite heavy on the lips because they are very pigmented, very creamy, but they're not a thin formula. They're a bit of a thicker formula. So I feel like these are best applied in a really sheer layer, or applied normally and then blotted down a little bit, but they give a really beautiful effect on the lips, and they wear really, really nicely. Because they have so much pigment and because they stay creamy, the good thing about them is, again, after eating, you just move your lips around a little bit, redisperses, evens it out, and throughout the day, they just sort of sheer down, and I think they're beautiful. I love them. Your lips don't feel dry. You get a nice amount of color, very comfortable, and I think these are a great alternative to a matte liquid lip if you've got drier lips, or you just don't want to deal with that sort of dried down finish. I think these are gorgeous. So I could very well just be like, I'm keeping all of these because I love the formula. They work really well on me. And also I find that even though they stay creamy, again, you don't really need to babysit them too much. Maybe you might get a little, like if you're eating a sandwich or something, you might get a little bit of transfer after eating, but it's very, very easy to just sort of tidy it up and it's good to go. It's not that sort of lip product that migrates a lot, especially if you blot it down a little bit. I do have to say that once you apply these, sometimes you might get them on your teeth. So a little bit of a wipe, a little bit of a blot of the inner portion, and they'll last all day. They're beautiful. All right, I'm going to swatch these because I know that I can get rid of some shades. I don't need them all, but I do really recommend the formula. I think they're gorgeous. Start with Eve, which I've already swatched, but it's this sort of nudie color there. It's a sort of peachy, brownie, pinky nude. On me, I think Eve looks a little bit pink toned for some reason on my skin. So in the photos on the screen, you'll see it actually looks like more of a nudie, sort of slightly pink tone rather than this warm nude. But you can also see that after a few hours wear and, you know, drinking and eating, it's sort of, the shine does fade down a little bit, but it does stay moisturizing for a long time. Just looking at the photos, I think I prefer the shade Hedonist. This one is a little bit more brown, I would say. It's got less rosy tones to it, and on me, I think I like that shade a little bit more. Something I would reach for on a daily basis a little bit more. And I think, again, doing this color is a good idea because if I had all of them, I would be a bit confused about which one to wear, to the point that I probably wouldn't pick one. Whereas if I go through methodically and go, okay, well, these are both nudes, they're both pretty, but I feel like this tone works on me better, it just makes me go, okay, well, why not just keep the one? And I'm more inclined to use it on a daily basis. So I'm keeping this one. Then I've got two sort of more mid-tone nude shades. Again, one more warm, one more cool. I've got Adam's Dream, which is more of your brown sort of orangey shade. So similar to the other colors, just a bit deeper. It's beautiful. And I've got the shade My Rules, which is more of that cooler tone one as well. Again, these are really pretty. I do like to blot these down though, because I feel like that amount of shine and pigment and color on my lips on a daily basis is probably a bit too much, but they both are really gorgeous. I think I'm going to keep both of these for now. I think they're really nice sort of winter nudes, sort of slightly deeper nudes, and I can't pick. I don't want to get rid of one and then realize I don't have that shade in my collection, so I might keep these to the swatch off. Then I've got two reds, and these are both sort of more muted red. So I've got Mood for Love, which is more of like a burnt orangey red, and I've got Vicious, which is more of a berry toned red. These are both very pretty. Again, I sort of like a brighter red, but I think in the right sort of, I don't know, with the right makeup look, these are both really pretty. So this one's Vicious, that one is Mood for Love. They're both gorgeous. Yeah, I wore this dark red one yesterday and I only wore it in the afternoon, but you can see on the screen, it's quite shiny and bold when it's first applied. It starts wearing down to look more like a cream or a satin finish. And then after eating, so where most of it's been removed, it still looks really even on the lips and doesn't look like it's smearing everywhere. So These are a really nice option if you like that glossy, bold red, but you don't want something matte. I did actually use Mood for Love, so that slightly lighter one, a couple of times. One time I didn't like it. I thought it didn't really work with my makeup, and then another time I did like it. So it's a nice sort of autumny red. I don't want to get rid of them and regret them because I really, really, really like this formula, and I've been praising this formula for a long time. So I think I'm only going to get rid of that sort of more pinkier nude. All right, the last formula I'm going to talk about in this video is the Nabla Soft Touch lipsticks. So these are bullet lipsticks. And look, I feel like these vary based on the shades. Some perform really well, and I feel like some are a little bit more drying. The lighter shades are particularly drying or look drier on the lips. And again, I feel like that's because when you put too much white pigment in a lipstick to make it lighter, it must go like chalkier or something. There's something about it. But let's open these up and give them a swatch. All right, the shade Chloe is beautiful. It's this really, really nice light. Look, it looks so diffused and beautiful on my hand. It's like a powdery pink. I think it's really, really gorgeous. But this is one of those shades that I think it looks a little bit too light on me. Like it starts looking a little bit concealer lips. And even though I like the tone of it, I think the undertones are really pretty. As this wears off, it does look a little bit puckered. So this one does have a tendency to feel kind of dry or look dry on the lips. And I'm not a huge fan of that. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. Backbeat is similar to Chloe, but it's more of a greyish tone. Again, I really like the colour of it, but I think this tone, again, is a little bit too light for me. It starts looking like concealer lips, and I don't think this is as drying as Chloe, but again, I don't think it's super flattering on me, so I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just looking at photos, and I feel like I look a little bit corpse-like with that, because it just looks too cool toned and too light. And I can sort of go light if it's the right tone, or I can go cool tone if it's the right depth. But the combination of light and cool tone makes it look kind of corpse-like. Oh, let's go on to my favorite. This is beautiful. And this is where I'm talking about, I feel like when they pull back a little bit on the white pigment in lipsticks, it's just creamier and nicer. This is the shade Lust, and this is my jam. I've worn this a couple of times. It is the most perfect nude for me, and it wears so beautifully. That just a little bit more depth to it makes it look really flattering, and I think the lack of the white pigment just makes it feel creamier and less puckered. So this sort of brownie tone is really gorgeous on my skin tone as well, and I feel like this is one I would reach for most days. It goes with a lot of different makeup looks. I'll have a wear test on the screen because this did wear the best out of pretty much all the nudes, and this even fell out of the tube and I pushed it back in. I'm like, you don't die on me because I'm keeping you. I love it. I think it's such a beautiful shade, beautiful finish, really comfortable. It is matte but still a bit creamy. It's got that nice diffused sort of blotted look going on, and it just wears down beautifully. So yeah, the last two are reds. I've got the shade Fool Me, which is your like bright traditional red. I actually didn't do a proper good photos of this because I think I wore it out in the evening, so the photos are pretty bad, but it's just a bright, beautiful red. It is a bit tuggy and a bit dry. I'm just going to say I have better, creamier matte formulas in this color. I know it for a fact. I probably have like 30 of them. So I like the brightness. I like the look on the lips. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's just not my favorite in that color and finish, and I know I have a lot more of them, so this is going. I've got to cull some. And Nolita is staying with me. This is gorgeous. This is, look, it's dry as well, but it's that sort of brownie toned red, and it is stunning. This is the nicest warm tone, like dark, like autumn red. I love it. I'll have a photo on the screen and you'll understand why I'm keeping it. And I didn't actually take any notes about how this one wore, but I just think the color was so gorgeous and fairly unique in terms of the reds that I own, that I'm keeping it. Like, we're in the middle of winter. This is the sort of color that it's almost like a blood red color, and I am obsessed with it. I think it's gorgeous. So my two favorites by far in this range, Lust and Nolita, and they are fantastic. All right, after all of that, I've decided I'm getting rid of my two Ofra lipsticks because they're being sacrificed. I don't need them. They are quite redundant. They're fine, but I don't need them. And when it comes to this Nabla one, I'm going to give it one more shot. I'm going to keep this out. I'm going to try to use it a couple times, and I will talk about it in my swatch off, obviously, where I cull down more shades. But because it is pretty, because I love the color and the finish is so easy to throw on as just a everyday lipstick, I'm going to try to see past the, or deal with the scent, and I'm going to give it another shot. So out of all that, I'm getting rid of 8 shades and I'm keeping 12. So it's not a 50-50 split, but some of these are really nice or really unique lipsticks. So what can you do? All right, so I have the final numbers for you, and I haven't revealed this previously because I wanted to wait until the end. But in total, over these past 15 videos, I have tested 518 lipsticks. That's a lot. I've kept 278. And I've gotten rid of 240. That's a lot of lipsticks to get rid of. So not quite 50-50, but again, those 278, I'm going to pull out and do a swatch off of over the next couple of weeks. So they will be coming in a couple of weeks, and then there'll probably be one a week until I'm done. Then I'll revisit this number and tell you how much I got it down to. I would like to keep it under 250. It'd be nice. And I think I can get there because I do know I've got a lot of sort of repetitive shades that I keep getting drawn to. So it's just a matter of which ones do I need and which ones can I sacrifice further. But yeah, 518 shades I've used over the last, I've reviewed and tested and taken photos of over the last year and a half, which is massive. But I'm very, very satisfied with decluttering 240. I think that's really great. And I've done it in a way that I don't regret it. I don't miss them. I don't feel like I need to run out and replace something. I feel like I've done it in a way that I'm comfortable and I'm happy to say goodbye. So it's been really refreshing, and I can't wait to spend some time organizing the leftovers and categorizing them in like swatch videos, and hopefully I'll get it down to quite a lot lower than the 278. I did also want to say that in my last video of this series, I mentioned that I might do like a dregs video. I've got some lip products that I either forgot to feature in certain months, or I've bought since doing those videos. I sort of gathered a few of them yesterday, and I feel like I've only got like 12 or 13 that I feel comfortable reviewing. Some other ones were like limited edition, sort of special ones, or gifted to me or whatever. And I don't think it's enough for another video. Also, it's not cohesive at all. I've got like a lip oil, a lip stain, a couple of random things. I've got minis. I've got like all over the shop. So some things I haven't even opened. So I thought I'll just keep them unopened for now. So I'm not going to do a dregs video because there's not much in it, if that makes sense. So I will work through those off camera and just sort of declutter as I go, but this is the rounding out of the testing part of the series. So thank you to everyone that's been on this journey with me and supporting me through trying these products. I know a lot of people love this series. I am doing a similar thing with eyeshadow palettes, so that is my Armageddon series. So if you wanted to see a similar thing but with eyeshadow palettes, definitely check out those. I've still got quite a lot to get through, so I'm sort of shifting my focus to that. If you do want to see blushes or bronzers or something, I don't think, look, I might do it, maybe. Yeah, depending on the interest, I'm not too sure. So I love this concept. I love trying what I have and sort of refining my collection. But I don't think I'll do this lip project for another couple of years because it's literally taken me years to finish. So it is what it is. As per usual, I will have all the names of the products I talked about in this video in the description box down below, as well as the links to all the past videos in this series. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.